Yeah, hi everyone. This is SportsReplays. Yeah, pretty ordinary week, to be honest. Not my worst week ever, but um, probably didn't quite perform as well as what I thought it would. There are a few disasters in the team that sort of didn't go my way, which we'll explain in a minute. Uh, yeah, just mediocre. There are a few changes that I need to do, but it could be a lot worse position. But again, it could be in a bit better position. But it's more long term. I think in the next few rounds you'll see where you're really at. Is probably a bit more of an accurate reflection. So start off with Sheasel 89. A little disappointing. I mean, North Melbourne were okay. I think Adelaide are probably the best team at the moment, if I was honest with you. Um, look, it'll be good once they play a bit better opposition, just to see. But look, they're playing really well. Scored over 100, 3 times. So yeah, Sheasel 89 is probably not what we want, but I mean, everyone has Sheasel, so it's not a huge problem. If he does start scoring like a 50 or 60, which I don't think he will, he's too good for that, but then it might be a bit of a problem. But look, yeah, he's off to a slow start. I reckon he'll come back. Max Holmes, 127, decent score, was one of their better players. So it looks like it's been a successful selection. Then Fraser, 68, so it's back down to earth with Fraser. I need to check his break even to see what it is. Hopefully it's still low. You can probably make a bit more money for the next maybe at least 1 week, maybe 2 more weeks. But it was his down game. Hopefully that's one of his lower scores for the season, or one of his lowest scores. But yeah, 68, a little disappointing, since he is a bit of a pod. And then Sam DeConning, it's a bit of a trap bringing him in, got subbed out. So, I mean, it was just dumb move following everyone else, I guess. But we'll have to wait and see. Probably have to hold him. Let's see if there's any other defenders I want to bring in at this point. Maybe a Rice, but you want to get rid of probably Leak for a Rice, because you want as much cash generation. We'll see how it goes with Sam DeConning. It's probably the one that I'm more concerned at the moment in my back line, more than Fraser. And then Sullivan, I traded him in. I think was it for Perryman, which is probably a good move. Because Perryman had the buy, and I thought, well, Sullivan's sort of on the bubble, get the cash. Smart decision, and Sullivan did well, did better than DeConning. So, who would have thought? And then Zach Reed, and showed the reason why we all picked him. 88, wasn't far off getting 100. It was a lot better this week, as well as the Essendon defence unit was phenomenal. And he's sitting 60, so it's a massive turnaround. And Reed, 88, that's great. So he's going to at least do some cash gen for the next couple of weeks, which is what we want. The year does have a bye this week. I can bring just Roberts in anyway. And then we've got the midfielder Sarong, 105, which is a little disappointing considering he's had a decent amount of disposables. It wasn't quite efficient, which is the reason why he's only scored 105. I was hoping for 120, 130, which is a little bit frustrating because it was against West Coast. You want him just to go off in that game. But he isn't as disappointing as his player Rosie, 64. Not good. Got absolutely smashed on Thursday night against the Bombers. Port's midfield the last quarter got absolutely destroyed, and just without Butters, I just don't think they're quite the same. Don't think they'll make the top 8. They're just below average side, to be honest. Just not good enough. And Rosie, I mean, he's got to do a better job as a captain. I mean, I'm not expecting him, to dominate every week, but I wasn't expecting this performance, to be honest. You got Bo trying his heart out, and then you got Rosie, 64. Without Butters there, I mean, come on, pathetic. And then Oliver, 80, disappointing, but he's still increased. Melbourne just they're bottom 4 this season. And, who they got? Geelong next week. Well, this week coming up, so they're probably going to lose that. Then they've got Essendon, which they could even lose that while they're playing. So they could be 0-5 and maybe even more potentially. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with Melbourne to lose 2 times in a row by more than 10 goals. Is this 2 10-goal losses in a row? We wouldn't have thought about this 2 or 3 years ago with Melbourne. So they're gone. They're finished. Bottom 4 locked in really at this stage. Unless they can pull off an upset and then beat Essendon, but that's going to be as easy as it looks. And then Ashcroft, 136 was by far my best midfielder this week. Phenomenal. Sort of saved my round a little bit. And then we'll talk about Callaghan, another disaster in his side. It sort of sums up the midfield really, other than Ashcroft and maybe O'Driscoll. He got tagged out, and honestly, fuck Hawthorn, fuck that club. I can't stand that club. Just fuck them all, really. Fuck McGuinness. Just a Supercoach nightmare he is. I mean, hopefully, Callaghan will bounce back. It was all right early, but just Hawthorn shut down the game after that. Fuck Hawthorn. Overrated fuckwits. Been lucky the whole start of the season. Bunch of cheats. Yeah, Callaghan, look, hopefully he'll bounce back, and that's just a one-off, which it should be. Expecting him a better score next week. But O'Driscoll, one of the shining lights in his midfield. 104. Happy with that. Can't really ask for much more. Levi Ashcroft, I think he got 1 goal, but that was about his only highlight. Disappointing. I don't think he's going to make as much cash as what we were looking for. I think when you've got 3 or 4 of the midfielders ahead of him, it's going to be, a bit of a, he's not going to get as much ball as what he would be at, say, a lower ranked club like Richmond. Look, he's going to make a little bit of money, but there's a little bit of concern, but not as much of a concern as Lindsay getting 9. I can't have that. Just hold his cash in, and he might be a trade out. That's another tough decision that we're going to have to make. And then another tough decision is Nivette 20. Just not good enough. Subbing, and then another Geelong player sub. Just 2 players in my side from Geelong got subbed. Declining the Nivette, just disaster. That whole match, other than Ashcroft, just shocking. And maybe Holmes as well, but I don't know why you have Niven as sub. He's performing well. I know it was against Brisbane, but he didn't deserve to be sub. Just silly. Chris Scott. And then Henderson, 43, which was ordinary. But I got him in for, who was it for? I don't think it was Sasada, so it was someone else. I might have been another midfielder who wasn't playing, or was this Ben Rookie, was it Hasty or someone else? Might have been Hasty. So I got rid of him and Henderson, but it still generated a bit of cash. I'm not even too sure he's going to be next week, the way Melbourne performed, but I think Melbourne should rebuild. Lindsay's out, so Henderson probably will keep his spot. And then Camperelli didn't get selected, even though he's been okay. So I'm not too sure if he's going to play next week either. So that's a dead rookie at this stage, which is very frustrating. And then the Rucks, Sherry, disappointing. Like I didn't have him as a captain option. So, some people did. You'd be disappointed. Considering that player, Rory Bynes all right, but he's not. He's okay. He's decent. He's probably slightly above average. You were hoping for Woods 120 score, and as captain you want a 130, 140 score. So a little disappointing from Sherry. And then Finn didn't play. So I'm not too sure what to do with him. He might be named next week. Williams did come off in the last quarter for a little bit, but it might be just to do with fatigue and maybe just soreness, not like an injury. But he's on the fringes to playing against probably the worst ruckman, or one of the worst ruckman in the comp, or at least starting ruckman against probably the second or worst side in the competition. So, I'm not too sure with his selection. If he does play, he does get that main ruck role, he's going to make a bit of cash. I'm just going to have to wait until Thursday night, and West Coast do play that Sunday game as usual, which is just frustrating. Which is the problem with these, Perth. It's just frustrating. 6:10, 5:10, 6:10 is just a stupid time. And Boyd didn't play. So a couple dead rucks there that has to be sorted out, and Tom Dugan goes off, so it's going to be a nightmare to get him. I was thinking should I do a boost to get Flynn in for the conning, which would have probably helped my rankings this week. Would have been probably in the top 15k if it wasn't for that. I will save my boost season for the upgrade season in a few weeks' time, because I might need it later on, but then again, or an injury that occurs, you might need to do it. So, look, if Flynn does play, it's not a huge problem. I'm happy with that, as long as he covers at least for the bye rounds. Because you've got S and Hawthorn are out, which wasn't too many players from their sides anyway. And on to the forward line, so a little bit more positive with the forward line. Got rank at 119. So it was a bit better this week. Played a full game out. Happy with that. Just about always. Most people have him. And then 82 from Horn Francis has been disappointing. Had a good last quarter. Kicked a goal to put Port Adelaide in front by 11, but that was sort of really it. Yeah, he's had a poor start. He had a poor game against Richmond, which is probably the main concern. You expect him to get at least above 100 against Richmond. But he couldn't do it against Essendon. So I'm not too sure how he's going to go against St Kilda. I think Steele is out. So he wasn't playing this round, so keep an eye on that. Yeah, disappointing from Horn Francis, but I still reckon he's still going to be in the top 6 forwards, at least in the top 10 at the very least. I reckon he'll come home strong. But just with, Butters not there, you'll expect a bit more from Horn Francis. Him and Rosie were just disappointing. And then McRae, 120 as captain, so not quite as good as last week. Which is a bit of a surprise that he didn't continue on. He still did well. He continued playing Richmond, but it was more of a team effort this week from St Kilda. Absolutely demolished Richmond. Just really ran away with it. So, I don't think Richmond winning too many more games for the season. They played their final against Carlton. And then Sanders 88, so happy with that. Bounce back. Look, if you hold on to him, you've been sort of happy. So a lot of it was his break even, so he'd probably be good for maybe 1 or 2 weeks. He got Freo, so that's going to be an average matchup. And he got Daniel, 116, so another excellent performance from him. And that's the reason why we've selected him. And then you've got Max Hall, so sort of save our round again this week. Only 5, so I thought, we'll put him on field, playing Richmond. End up being an excellent decision. Then you got the flex, 129, which is phenomenal from Davidson. Was probably one of the best players in the ground, to be honest. Yeah, happy with that selection, to be honest with you. He's going to make us a lot of money. And it was a cheaper rookie as well. So that's sort of saved our round a little bit. Everyone has Davison, and then you've got Kako, 62. So he's a slow burn. And then Connor Stone, 46, another slow burn. Probably not the best selection, but it still made a bit of money. So what I'm going to do this week, probably going to get rid of Lindsay, to be honest. Maybe get rid of him. Still cash to be made, I reckon. It's just that's just footy, I guess. Midfield was just a bit of a disaster this week. Just everything went wrong. I think that's sort of where it left me down. There was no really rookies that really stood up either. Even if I had Henderson on field for Lindsay, it's not going to really make much of a difference. I think this thing didn't go my way. And then you've got the conning here, which is probably just a stupid trading. Sort of went with everyone. I mean, I'll look at manage a bit of money and sort of stop the blame with Perry, but look, what I'll do, I'll probably just hold on to the Conning, and you'll probably hopefully just maintain his price. He's got Melbourne, and hopefully he plays out a full game, and Nivet as well, sort of hold as a cash gen. But I'll probably get rid of Lindsay, since he's not going to make any money for at least a few weeks. And, and you got Camper Rally as well. So, there are a few players. I think there's one guy from Port, and you got Bailey Rice who wants to come in. So I'll probably get rid of League simply because he's not playing. I mean, this is definitely a trade that I'm doing. Louis Trainer did well if you had him. I got 310k as well, so could get Flynn and upgrade it to Conning. I think he's still in price range. That'll solve the ruck headaches. But I think we've got a midfield issue here. Now, should I maybe trade Lindsay up to a Matt Rao? Or should I think more long term? And get rid of Lindsay. And then bring in Christian Moraes. Murphy Reader did well. So if you had him, which not many people did. Oh, well, 20% of people got lucky. You could bring him in. Neil Erasmus, so that's probably another one in the forward line you can probably pick up as well. You can bring Lindsay in for that 390. And potentially could do another boost. And maybe bring in a DeConning. I'm more concerned with this midfield. Probably need another primo win, I reckon. That's where I'm sort of short. The thing is, there's plenty of good midfielders, and that's the thing. Now, with a forward line, I'm pretty happy with my forward line, to be honest. Maybe other than Horn Francis, but everyone else is doing all right. Maybe could upgrade Flanders to a Smith, but it's not really worth it when there's other issues I want to fix. I mean, Smith... he had a terrible efficiency, so he could have easily gotten over 100, 120 even on the weekend against Brisbane, but look, there's bigger issues in my side. Should I maybe even get rid of a Kake, perhaps? Or maybe get rid of Stone to Erasmus. Who knows? Or maybe I should get rid of one of these players, Camper Rally for an Erasmus, and just really focus on cash gen, and then on long term, hopefully I can use that cash generation and then improve my side and think about the long term rather than the short term. I think I'll be alright. Maybe just, since there is a bye, it's not going to be a huge deal this week. Or should I maybe bring a Matt Rao in, who I was thinking, or maybe a Dacos? Because Matt Rao is dominated, but he did this last year. He started off well and then finished poorly towards the end of the season and had a few good games towards the end. So that's what I'm thinking about doing if I was going to do a boost. I'd rather save the boost in upgrade season, because there's still a few rounds behind, or still a few rounds for that to go. So what I'll do, I'll probably just hold it for now. That's sort of what I want to do. And at 390k, that can be put in for an upgrade. Probably more likely the midfield or rucks. I think the forward line's pretty good at this stage. There's probably, maybe if I was going to maybe do the cash gen, could maybe bring in Erasmus for a camp at Rally. Which I could do that. And that'd be a massive cash gen, and then I'm going to have a lot of money left over to quickly upgrade this midfield. Maybe even the defence too with Sam DeConning, although at least should be going to be playing. As long as I've got players playing, that's what really matters. But then you obviously got the buy. So I'll bring him in. And then Geelong have that, so I'll probably just have Sullivan as an emergency option. I got all my midfielders playing next week. So what I'll do, I have Henderson as emergency if Camporelli isn't playing, which is kind of sucks now since missing out on Reed. I think Kako's not playing, and the GWS game's late, so it's probably only where the deficiency is there. Or Nived as well. He might be better. I mean, Nived has a better potential, but and then you got Boyd. So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy in terms of the 4 line. I think the rucks in the midfield probably need to improve a little bit. And the defence is okay, at least the top 3. Fraser's okay. Probably only got 1 or 2 good weeks left in, then I'll probably need to trade him. But it's mainly the midfield and rucks. Sherry's alright. That's Sydney, so it's going to be Grundy. Although Grundy sort of passed a little bit. It just hasn't been off the last few years for Grundy. So, I mean, look, yeah, I think the midfield probably needs a bit of a work now. It's probably where a major concern is. Maybe I could even put Smith in the midfield, but it's probably not really what I want to do. So, look, not an absolute shocking position. I think forwards were actually the easiest position or starting team this season, which is a bit odd. Usually that's probably the most difficult position since there isn't as many scoring options. But this season we're just flooded with Daniel and McRae and even Sanders. Maybe not Sanders, but a bunch of other players that that we usually don't get in. Look, mediocre. I think Callahan will bounce back, and hopefully Rosie does. Port got next week, St Kilda, and then GWS, they've got West Coast. So look, he's going to bounce back against West Coast. So a low possession side, and they can see a lot of the inside 50 differential is pretty poor as well. So I reckon he might even get 120 next week, Callahan, and he'll bounce back. So I'm confident in that. All right, well, thank you for watching. Disappointing, but could be a lot worse.